The other day, someone shared one of my videos on the Society of St. Pius X at cathinfo.com. It's my video on the infighting the Society of St. Pius X. I've been doing a series of videos on the Society of St. Pius X. I think they should all be posted by the time we get to this Fish Eater Friday. And the reason I'm bringing this up for Fish Eater Friday is one of the comments, in fact, and I was informed about this. It must have just been up because there's only a couple comments. Now there are 15 pages worth of comments. And so I want to address this question. I'll take your questions anywhere you put them. If you want to make sure I get them, email me, post them on YouTube, comment on my websites, pope-speaks.com or pope-michael.com or at the vaticaninexile.com. These ways you can be sure. But if I find a question like this, from something someone points out to me, I'm going to answer it here. First of all, someone asks the person, why do you care what Pope Michael thinks? And he says, I care what he thinks. I find him interesting. I wonder if he ever has doubts about his papacy. And I think I have done another video on this a while back. That's worth going over the question again. Do I have doubts about my papacy? And in a word, no. Okay? If my papacy is based upon the truth, especially the truths of the divine Catholic faith and an application of her laws to the current crisis in the Church, then I should have no doubt in the papacy. If my claim is not based upon the truth, then of course I should have a doubt. In fact, I should go back over the whole thing again, find out where I got off course. But the truths upon which my claim to the papacy is based, and you could call it a claim, I think it's a certainty myself. The truths are the same today as they were July 16, 1990, and in fact as they were even in the mid-1970s when the idea of a papal election was first discussed. And so what objections could people bring up? All right, if you have an objection to the validity of my papacy, look at the basis of it. Now, I'm not going to go into it in this video here. If you want me to go into it in a video, certainly, let me know and I'll work up a longer video. And it's going to be a longer one because we got a lot of ground to cover. I'll try to cover it shortly. In fact, I'm working on a video that will cover it a little bit shorter. Or if you question one part of the reasoning, look at the Vatican in Exile, my book, 54 Years to Change the Catholic Church. Kindle edition is cheapest, and I do put it up for free occasionally. All right, so let's get back to the point. What type of objections do people raise? You have so few followers. I remember reading a quote many, many years ago. Right is right, even if no one is doing it. And wrong is wrong, even if everyone is doing it. And that's from St. Augustine. The truth is the truth, even if you don't believe it, I don't believe it, and all 7+ billion people on earth don't believe it. It still remains true. God will be God even if none of us follow him. These things cannot change. So the number of followers is not a measure of truth. That's democracy. And if you take a look at democracy and where it's gone in the world today, how true is what's going on? How honest, how for the common good is what's going on in the world today. That should be a proof right there. The majority is not a measure of truth. Truth is measured against objective things. 2 + 2 = 4. And it's going to equal 4 even if we all reject it and say 2 + 2 = 22. Because there's 2 2's and I just put them next to each other. It's still wrong. And so the number of followers is not a guide for truth. In fact, there's a prophecy in Isaiah, and he says of these times that the number of true Catholics will be so small that a little child can name them. Get yourself a 6-year-old and see how many people they can name. is not a large number. And I think this is one of the errors of traditionalism. We wanted to gather numbers. Well, of course, we want to gather numbers to save souls. I want to convince you of the truth for your good, not mine. Okay? It's not about me. It's about getting you to heaven. Now, I have to get me to heaven. But convincing you of stuff is not is not to my that's not I'm looking at for my benefit. But let us consider. I know someone who quit the conciliar church when the council was still on because of a slight change that was introduced. He said this is wrong, and he walked out in his son's first communion. He was all alone. I look back to Oklahoma City. We had a group of concerned families who, in about 65, had started a catechism class to teach the true faith to the children, because you couldn't get it from the churches or the Catholic schools, whatever. Well, this group in about 1972 began departing the Novus Ordo, one family at a time. Did that first man who made the decision, and I know Tom Costello, his name has actually even been mentioned here on the internet, Thomas Costello, because he died a couple of years ago. Did he stop and think what anyone else thought when he pulled out? I know him. He didn't. It's like a couple times when the sermons went bad, his family took up a pew. He got up, looked down the aisle, looked down the pew at his family and said, Costello's out, and formed a procession straight out of the church. The second family to quit, mixed marriage, she was Catholic, he wasn't. Did she wait for someone else to quit? No. My family was third. In fact, we thought we were second until we found out about this other family. It didn't matter. We were going to do what was right. We didn't care what anyone else was doing, because that's human respect. And so we're not looking at human respect. And so I could cover all sorts of objections. But if you have a serious objection to the reasoning upon which the election in July 16, 1990 was based, send it to me. If it's a simple one, I'll do it for Fish Eater Fridays. If it's complex, I will reserve the right to make a special video, but I will address these questions. You'll see that comment get approved. And so, as you eat your fish today, let us seek the truth and not care what anyone else does. So have a good Fish Eater Friday. God bless you all.